Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's upload I am going to be going over one of the new DLC weapons. When season 3 got released, it brought in a couple new DLC weapons, which is the SKS and the Renetii. And previously I did a full guide on the Renetii pistol, so if you haven't checked out that video, make sure you do so if you want to know everything about the Renetii. And in this video I'm going to be going over the SKS, and I'm pretty much just going to be doing all the gun stats and a couple good loadouts for you guys to be using in hardcore, regular, and in ground war. And for those who do not know what the SKS rifle is, you unlock it at tier 31 in the battle pass, or you have to do a couple challenges if you don't have the battle pass, I believe. I'm not sure about that if you don't have it, but I know it is a free weapon. But so basically the SKS is just a marksman rifle. It is a semi-automatic one, and it's similar to the EBR. Just in my opinion, it's way better than the EBR, but they're pretty much the same thing, just one's a marksman rifle and one's a sniper rifle. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to head right into is the gun stats. So from 0 to 50 meters, if you hit someone in the limb, it is going to be doing 47 damage. If you hit them in the lower torso, it does 51 damage. If you hit them in the upper torso, it does 55, and a headshot does 100 damage. And this is just for 0 to 50 meters. And according to these stats, this gun is pretty much always going to be a 2-shot kill, unless you hit them in the leg or the arm. And so while you're using this gun, make sure you aim for their chest. Try not to hit their legs or their arms, just aim for their chest or their head, because if you hit them in the chest, it's going to be a 2-shot. If you hit them in the head, it will be a 1-shot. And since you deal 100 damage if you hit them in the head with this gun, makes this gun a very good weapon. But if your enemy is farther than 50 meters, it is going to take more than 1 shot to the head to kill them. And for example, if you're on ground war and you shoot someone across the map and you hit them in the head, don't get confused if he doesn't kill them instantly, because that is well over 50 meters. But if they are within 50 meters, you are going to be getting that consistent 2-shot kill if you hit them in the chest at least, or if you hit them in the head, it will just take 1 shot to kill them. And so the average shots to kill with this gun in multiplayer is going to be 1 to 3, making this gun very viable. And in hardcore, it is going to be a 1 to 2. And if it takes 2 bullets to kill your enemy in hardcore, that is going to be very rare, just because the health is only 30. And so even if you hit them in the arm, it is going to kill them, because if you hit them in the arm, that's going to do a minimum of 47 damage. And in hardcore, the max health you have is 30. And the only time in hardcore it's going to be a 2-shot kill is if you're trying to shoot them through a wall, or like through a couple walls, and you hit them in like the toe or something like that. But in general, it's going to always be a 1-shot 1 kill in hardcore. And in Warzone, the shots to kill is going to be 3 to 6, and this is based off if they have full armor and full health. And if you guys didn't know, each armor plate does 50 health, and so the base health that you have in Warzone is 100, plus for each armor plate that you have, it's going to add an additional 50 health. So the max health in Warzone is going to be 250, which is why it is a 3 to 6 shot to kill with this weapon. Oh, and just so you guys know, I wouldn't be using this weapon in Warzone. I don't recommend actually using any marksman rifle in Warzone, and that is because you will always get outgunned if someone has like a sniper. Most people have like an HDR AX50, and it is very rare the person with the marksman rifle would win the gunfight between a sniper rifle and a marksman rifle, just because the sniper rifle has so much more velocity and damage that you can be putting out compared to a marksman rifle. So I wouldn't be using the SKS in Warzone if I were you. But even with that said, I am still giving you a best loadout for this weapon in Warzone. And that is going to wrap it up for the stats. And I could go more in depth with the SKS, like do the RPM and the reload speed and stats like that, but I feel like most people don't really care about those stats. And in my opinion, all the stats outside of like the shots to kill and how much damage you're putting on the enemies doesn't really matter, because the shots to kill and how much damage you're putting on the enemies is like the main part of the stats of what you should be knowing when you're using the weapon. And before I get into the best class setup portion of this video, I just want to say, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I upload tips and tricks, best class setups, gameplays, and pretty much anything that's going to help improve your Call of Duty skill. So if you want to get better at Call of Duty, make sure you hit that red button and ring the bell so you guys know whenever I upload. And always, if you guys could leave a like on this video, it really helps out the channel a lot. But anyways, let's get right into this class setup. And now for the first loadout. This loadout is pretty much if you want to run and gun with this weapon. And this is one of the marksman rifles that actually performs really good if you're using it at close quarters. For the first attachment, I did the monolithic suppressor just to give myself sound suppression and damage range. This will make it so the enemies don't know you're coming up behind them or where you're killing them from. And for the barrel, I throw on the F-Tac landmark, and that is because it adds to your damage range and your bullet velocity. So if you do need to pick off players at medium and long range, it will still be very easy to kill those players. And I almost went with the 16-inch barrel. The only reason I did not do that is because it adds so much recoil to this gun that you really can't control it, and it just makes you miss all these shots at medium range. And so at medium range, you're a complete disadvantage. That's why I wanted to use the landmark, so you're not at complete disadvantage at those ranges. And I added the tac laser just to add to your ADS speed, your aiming stability, and your aim walking steadiness. For the optic, it's pretty much up to you. I just prefer the GI Mini Reflex because I'm going to be using this at close quarters. But it's totally up to you guys. There's tons of good scopes that you guys can be using. If you were to use like a sniper scope, I would recommend the EU scope. Very good scope if you want to use it like a sniper rifle. And for the stock, I added the F-Tac Hunter Scout. And the reason I added this stock is, if you guys did not know, if the more aiming stability you have, the more aim assist you have. And so for a controller player like me, I like to have this stock just so I can have a little bit more aim assist, so it's a little bit easier to kill those players at medium and long ranges. And if you're a PC player, which means you don't have aim assist, I would take off this stock and throw on the sleight of hand perk. Makes this gun very good. If you guys want a very good class setup for the Renetii, click on that link above me, and that video will show you guys a very good loadout for this gun. And now over to the perks, I throw on EOD just to protect me from those claymores and proximity mines and that grenade spam. For perk 2, I did High Alert. You could also do Ghost, but I just prefer High Alert because of the recent buff it got. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, how High Alert got a buff, it previously just used to flash your screen yellow whenever an enemy was looking at you, but now with the recent patch, it will show wherever the enemy is looking at you. So if the enemy is on your right, only the right side of your screen will flash yellow. If the enemy is to your left or behind you, it'll only flash that side of the screen that they are looking at you from. And for the third perk, I throw on Amp just so I can swap my weapons faster. And for the lethal, I throw on C4 just because I'm very aggressive with this class and I just want to be throwing C4s everywhere, just being in the enemy's faces constantly. And for the tactical, I just did Stim because I'm going to be taking in lots of damage just because I'm always in the enemy's face. And this next class setup for the SKS, this is pretty much like a ground war class setup, or if you're just a slower player and you like to sit back and actually use this gun like how it's supposed to be. For the muzzle, I threw on the monolithic suppressor just to give me more range and suppress my shots so they don't know where I'm shooting them from. The barrel, I did the F-Tech landmark. I could have did the 22-inch barrel, but it just makes the ADS on this gun so slow and it just makes it feel really clunky, and so that's why I like the landmark, because it's like right in the middle. For the optic, I did the aim-op reflex sight. This is totally up to you again. Sometimes I will use the PU scope, but I've been liking the aim-op reflex sight recently. For the underbarrel, I did the Ranger foregrip. This is just going to help you control the recoil and add to your aiming stability. And for the ammunition, I did a 30 round mag, just so you don't really have to worry about reloading if you got lots of enemies in front of you and you're like far away and you just want to try to pick off as many as you can. This will help so you don't really have to worry about reloading. And now over to the third class setup. This class setup is for if you want to use the SKS in Warzone. And so this Warzone class I made for the SKS is very similar to the last class setup I just showed you guys, but there's just a couple little changes. For the muzzle, I did the monolithic suppressor just to add to the damage range and sound suppression. For the barrel, I throw on a 22-inch one because in Warzone it doesn't really matter if your gun is clunky, and you should just be using this gun at medium and long range anyways. And so adding that 22-inch barrel will significantly increase your range in the damage output that you're putting on the enemies. And for the optic, I did the thermal hybrid, and that is because this gun is good at close ranges, so that's why I like to have the hybrid, so I can switch from like my sniper scope to the red dot sight for those close range engagements. For the underbarrel, I did the Ranger foregrip, and that's just so I can control the recoil a little bit easier and have better aiming stability. And for the ammunition, I did a 30 round mag because in Warzone it takes a lot of shots to kill, so you don't really want to be worrying about having to reload. And the perks for the Warzone loadout is totally up to you if you want to run overkill or not, or what you're doing with your class setup. This is just a good loadout if you want to use the SKS in your Warzone class. And just so you guys know, the SKS, it looks like it has a lot of recoil, but it really doesn't have that much. It's just a lot of visual recoil, so it looks like your gun's bouncing around a lot, but really your shots are actually landing in the same place each time you shoot. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, just in case you guys think that there's tons of recoil on the weapon and you need more attachments to compensate for that recoil. And so that is going to wrap it up for a best class setup and all the gun stats for the SKS. If you guys did enjoy, please let me know in the comments. I do reply to everyone unless it gets sent to like my spam folder and I don't see it. And don't forget to leave a like, really helps out the channel. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video.
Well, this mad world made me crazy. Might just turn around.